everyone, this is Happy, the Crafty Chemist, and this video will be both what I have done for November and a run through of everything Hanna Karlzon that I have colored, and you'll see why in just a second. So this is a whip that I have for Mythographic Wild Winter. I've done all of the base layer with the Ohuhu alcohol markers, and then I've been using Brute Funer squares on top and just having fun with it when I have a few minutes while I'm grading papers and things. So there's only a little bit left to finish up on it. And then another finished page that I don't have any other whips, but this is a finished page I did. I finished it on the 11th of November, and it is in the Coloring Heaven Enchanted Animals special, and it has Kanoko Agusa as the artist for it. And I used a lot of Star Joy Gold on this and polychromos and some Derwent, probably some Derwent drawing on here. Maybe not. Maybe mostly polychromos. But I had a fun time with doing all of the tree and try to make apples and things look as good as I could make them. I loved this one. This was good. I did notice that there are a lot of Christmas ones. Well, a lot, like maybe 3 back here. And so I think I'll probably keep this book out. I had planned on putting it away, but there's this one here with the sleigh and some fairies and stuff. And then delivering Christmas presents to all the animals and the kittens underneath the stockings and some boughs of evergreen. And so it's just so adorable that I love this book so much that I think that I will probably color some more in it. All right, so that leads to Tales from the Witch's Cottage. I did a lot of coloring in this in October, but I did also color this one in November, and I finished it on the 20th of November. This is a lot of Inktense and polychromos mostly. There is a little bit of glittery watercolor in there in a few places on the mushrooms and on the cat's collar. And there is a little bit of jelly roll pen up here, like a neon one, just to make the trees look a little bit more ready for fall. I liked this one a lot. And so that one is new in November. So if I go back to the beginning, this was the first page I ever colored in here. And I didn't date it, and I haven't put my name on it yet. But I found out that the water-based stuff goes through this book really quickly. And so like these areas here where I had this blue graphitin, it wasn't even that dark, but it went through. So when I colored this page here, I had to cover up a lot of stuff with some acrylic paint, and I finished this one in February. And then I did the next one over, and some of this paint has transferred over to this page. So if I forget to keep some parchment paper in here, then it transfers. So this bunny has a glittery background to it. Maybe now that I have some setting spray, I should set this whole page, but it has a glittery background. The bunny was done in March. And of course, this purple area here, which should be, well, you know, I don't know exactly. It could have been watercolor crayons, or it could be Inktense. That went through. So I had to make this background purple on this one with the kitties on the roof of this building. I did this one in April. So I made a night scene with a purple tone to it. There's a little bit of metallic pen on here for these little fire sprites or whatever those things are. I also did this page about the same time, and it has some metallic watercolor in there as well, and some Neocolor 2 in the background, and some other metallic pens and things for that. So that one was also done in April. Those were done about the same time. And then I did this page here with the cats. I did this one in September. And I wanted them to be dark cats at night. And I was starting on my fall thing in September when I did this one. And I did this one in October. And I have Neocolor 2 and a lot of graphite-based mediums in here with this witch, with the cats and the crow and her broom. I tried to make it like a green light. This is probably the first full page. No, the second full page. This is the second full page I did. I did this when my son was swimming state in 2022. And this year when he was swimming state in November, he actually won the 100-meter butterfly for the state. And this week, I am taking him to Chicago for Winter Juniors, which is a national level swim meet. And he's such a good swimmer, and I just really enjoyed coloring this one. I did this one with Derwent drawing entirely. There's nothing else but Derwent drawing on here. And I was trying to, make it realistic looking. This is like the floor in my room. And I think I did pretty good on doing that, especially for a year ago, and for being nervous at state. This year I was even more nervous, so nervous that I couldn't concentrate on doing anything. It was very exciting that he won. All right, so yeah, we've seen this one. Oh, I also noticed that she's got some sparkle on her ear and her hoop earrings there. So then in October, I also did these two pages. I was trying to do ghosty kind of thing here with this one. I finished this. Oh, actually, this was September. I did these in September. So yeah, I was trying to have it like lit from underneath for this one. I tried a lot of new things, and also the candles being lit. There's a lot of ink tints and graphite kind of things in there. Same here. This is ink tints and graphite. And then I think the only other page that's colored in this book is like the first full page that I ever colored, and it was this one. And I was trying to do some bokeh and obviously had no idea what I was doing, and so they're very much too bright. I would need to fuzz out the edges a little bit more, but I was learning. I also tried to make this into a marble tabletop. I really only started trying to do fancy color pages a little over a year ago. So that's everything colored in Tales from the Witch's Cottage. And then we'll look at seasons. And for the month of November, I did quite a few pages in here. So I did this one, the Fallen Stars page, and I used a lot of Neocolor 2 and then just pencils on the background. And I think mostly just pencils on the stars. Then there's some metallic watercolors that I colored over the top of for some of these icicles here. And the snowflakes are metallic watercolors, and there's metallic watercolors in the stars and stuff. And some metallic watercolors around there too. And there's some also ink tints here for the crystals. It's okay. This page is okay. I think that it's a little bit more muted for the background than I would have wanted. And I tried doing some, just whatever made sense in the background for spicing it up a little bit. So this page is one that I finished in November 26th. And I wanted it to be very golden, just like everything as gold as possible. And so I have a lot of metallic watercolors, a lot of different golden kinds of colors. I think this one's more of a coppery one. But let's see, zoom out a little bit. There we go. And there's some like graphitint in the back behind her head. And then there's just, I put her freckles are sparkly and her lips are sparkly. And I just had a lot of fun making this. I wanted it to be really, really bright golden. And I think I did pretty okay with that. Now, I haven't colored this one, but you could see that there was some bleed through of the stuff from the other side. And I just finished this one on like the 1st and the 2nd of December because I just needed to do a few little of the highlights and stuff. And so I had a lot of fun with this. This has got a lot of ink tints, and the rest of it is mostly polychromos, and there's a little bit of like Derwent drawing here on the house. And then there are little bits of metallic watercolor. I made these into like blue lights around the edge of the house, and actually I think that may be the only metallic watercolor. And then I have some acrylic paint pen for some highlights and covering up the black lines from around the candles from the lanterns, and also jelly rolls for the snow that's here. Now these were colored before, and this one's actually, I guess it's still another whip. So I guess that was it for in this book. So we can come back to the front, and I have not colored hardly anything in the front of this book. I guess this is another one I was just playing around since I was coloring the gold on the crowns and stuff on the bunnies. I did this one in February, and there's a little bit of white gel pen and gray gel pen. And otherwise, this one may have been entirely Star Joy Gold. I gotta keep these pages in here because I tend to like, oh, yeah, I think it was entirely Star Joy Gold. I tend to like, you can see I press too hard and I need to keep those pages there. So that's like from the front, the first page that's been colored in this book. And you can see another page where I'm going to need to do some work. I'll come back to it. This one I did while my son was at a swim meet in Texas. That swim meet is called Futures, and I only had like 12 Prismacolors. Oh my goodness, I only had 12 Prismacolors with me on this one, so I just did what I could do with the 12 Prismacolors. It's not the best. I don't like how much white of the paper is showing through. All right, so here's the one that I need to fix, and this was watercolor gel crayons that the blue just went right through the paper. It's just like if the paper gets too wet, everything goes right through. I colored this one in January. I do like the colors, and I think this is a fun one, but it's going to require me to do some painting or something to fix that one, which is fine. You know what? It's a coloring book. It's not the end of the world. This one I did in September with Neocolors and colored pencils. I have a lot of plans. I love some of these pages. I just don't get to them when I would like to. So, and I think that is it as far as, well, I have these two also, I guess. So this one was from December of a year ago in 22. So this is a year old. And this one I know I did entirely with Castle Art, and then a lot of gel pens to cover up some of the crystals. I wanted it to, I don't know, be a little bit of a rainbowy color down here. The colors are just not that intense with the Castle Art crayons. And I know I used some of the metallics in the sky. And then this one here, I was just kind of coloring it while I was doing this. So I'm going to come back and finish this one in December. And I haven't colored any of the others. So I do have some December coloring plans for with this. So. All right. And then I colored my first pages in Tales from the Forest Kingdom. I colored this here, and I did not put a date on it, but it was early November. And I used ink tints for the fire and some sparkle in the flyer. This is actually supposed to be a sparkle around the sky, and ink tints with graphite for the background here. I noticed that it kind of ate up some of my sparkles in the sky, so I may need to put some more of them on there. I have a lot of fun with this one. It was supposed to be a buddy color, but my buddy has not finished hers. And so I was just going to show it here, and then I'll eventually put it on Instagram. This one also I colored at the same time because it was open. And there's a lot of, well, this is ink tints and graphite again for the background. And then there's a lot of graphite things that I've used on here. And I used some metallic colored pencils for on the mushrooms on the deer's butt. And I haven't colored any other pictures in this book, so I have a lot of potential for coloring here. You may notice that there's a little bit of a split here, and that's because I forgot that I had spirit animals, and so I pulled this one out because I've colored 3 pages in here, which is really sad because there's so many really neat pages in this book. And the first one that is, you know, going from the front of the book to here is this double page. I actually have a date down there, but I can't read it right now. And I had a lot of fun coloring this one. There is a lot of drawing used on this page, along with probably Prismacolor. Oh, there it is. It's 223. I put one over here. So, in February, I finished this page, and then the first page that I ever colored in this, I started a little over a year ago, and that is this page here of the cat and the woman, and I started this at Thanksgiving time in 2022, and I was mostly used Prismacolor, a little bit of the Jelly Roll white pen, and some Graphitint also in the background. I really tried to make it a smooth gradient, but it was a year ago, and I wasn't, I was trying a lot of things out. So these are the pages that I've done in here, and there are so many more in this book that I'd really like to do. I just haven't gotten to it. I have too many pages that color. Like, I think this little doggy is so cute, and there's just a lot of really neat ones in here. I love the dragon here. I probably won't color any in this for the rest of the year. Oh, I wanted to do this one at Halloween, this 2-page, but I also didn't get to it. There's not really like seasonal kinds of things in here, so this is maybe for other times of the year. I really like cats, so I may want to do that one sometime soon. And actually, I really like this snake one. I also thought about doing it around Halloween, and I like these two because I also love bunnies. And well, the owls. I think owls are so cool, but I never really know exactly how I want to color them. Oh, I loved this one for also Halloween, but obviously I did not do it. And so it's going to be, I really need to pull this out and do some work in it because I love almost every single picture in here. Just not the first thing that I usually grab for. So I thought that one might be neat for that. Maybe this would be a good wintry one. I don't know. I need to, well, obviously this is a good Halloween one. But I've said it before, witches are for all year. Like, you're not just a witch at Halloween. If you're a witch, you're a witch. So that was spirit animals. And the last book from Hanna Karlzon that I have is Tales from the City Among the Stars. I'm not colored very much in this one either. And I didn't color any in November, but I did do this one in June for the Junicorns. A lot of ink tints on here, and then just colored pencil over the top of it. Most of the colored pencil for this one, I believe, was Prismacolor, and I only had a couple of the polychromos at the time, and that was like a dark brown. And so I just used that for highlights, and that's when I discovered, oh, I really like these pencils, and so I have been buying more of them since then. I colored these 2 pages in June as well. So it looks like I had, like, for June, I had this book that I focused on, whereas for November, it was the Seasons book. In October, it was the Witches book. So I kind of have a focus kind of thing, but this is colored with a lot of neo color too. And I believe this one also was, it's got a little bit of a weird color scheme. That's what I was kind of going for with it, was kind of a weird color scheme since it's supposed to be a city among the stars. This one, I believe, was the first one I colored in this book. And again, it's not even dated unless I've hidden the date somewhere. I've dated things, including like crossword puzzles and Sudokus and stuff like that since I was a kid. So it's weird when I don't have a date on something. But I did use some distress ink in the background and some stencils with that. And then the rest of it would have been all Prismacolor. And there is a little bit of silver. I think this was probably a paint pen for that one. But I really do like how that page came out. And it looks like that's all I've colored in this book. So that would be the end of my Hanna Karlzon stuff. I don't know what my plans are for December. I actually was very sick for most of November and was unable to get very much done. And I even missed out on Thanksgiving with my family because I was so sick, and I'm still not quite over it. And it's the end of my semester now, so I have a lot of grading and planning to do, and even more so since I will be taking my son to this swim meet in Chicago, and I have to figure out how to manage all of the student work and grading and the start of finals with all of that. But I wouldn't miss it for the world because it's my son and he's only going to be 16 once. So we won't get to do this kind of thing ever again. And everybody else can just, help me out a little bit by being understanding and, excited for us too whenever things do go well. The students get videos and stuff, so it's not like I'm neglecting them, and I take all the stuff and I grade it with me, and I just, there's a little bit of adjustment of plans sometimes because of this crazy hectic schedule that we've got going on with things. But he's starting to hear from some colleges already, and he's just a junior, so he's just 16 years old, and so very exciting for that. And I hope that he gets to, really look at these schools and decide which one he thinks is going to be best for him and his swim career, because that's what he really wants to do. And I'm all in for it. We've been swimming. He's been swimming since he was 6 years old. And as long as he's having fun and continues to do it, we will support him as much as possible. That's, how parents go. So that means taking some of my projects on the road. That means, making adjustments in my work schedule so that I can help him to accomplish all of his dreams. He doesn't know where he wants to go to school yet, but he does want to study physical therapy or sports therapy or something along the lines of that. So we'll see where that goes, see where that takes him. And I'm always excited to see what happens. My older son is in college, and he goes to the same college where I used to go, and so that's always really exciting too, to hear what's going on up there and hear about his classes and his friends. He called us one day in November, and he's like, I guess I should have told you I went out of town. I went to Nashville. And I was like, oh, well, what were you doing in Nashville? He goes, oh, I joined a fraternity. Like, oh, okay. I was like, so what does that have to do with going to Nashville? He's like, they sent me to a leadership conference. I'm like, okay, so joined a fraternity, leadership conference, out of town in Nashville. You could tell us this stuff before it happens instead of just like at the end, hey, I did this. So yeah, he's a funny kid. My kids are super independent, and they want to accomplish as much as possible without too much assistance or interference from mom and dad, including the one that we have to drive to swim meets out of the country, or like not out of the country, but in other parts of the country, Luckily, Chicago's not too far away. I've only been to Chicago once, and I had just recovered from COVID, and I didn't get to do very much. So I don't know that there'll be much time for doing anything on this trip, but it seems like Chicago might be kind of pretty this time of year. I don't know. Everybody's like, it's going to be cold. Well, I checked the temperature. It doesn't look too much colder than here. And it's just like winter temperatures. Like, if you can't expect winter temperatures in a place that gets winter, and you can't handle that, then I don't know. My 16-year-old does want to go to college, someplace where it gets lots of snow. He does not like the Midwest weather, and so he wants north, and he wants lots and lots of snow. So I'll quit babbling on, and I will be making some other videos soon, maybe something of like what I plan to do for Christmas. I also wanted to, while I was recovering grading papers, I watched a bunch of Christmas videos, so I kind of want to do a little bit of a review of some of the Christmas videos I've seen, and maybe I'll do that while I'm like doing some coloring or some other crafting and stuff, since lots of people seem to kind of like those videos. Actually, I watch those videos of other people, so I can imagine that people would. I don't know. If that's something you'd be interested in, let me know. I don't think I have a huge viewership on any of these videos, or probably mostly consider that they're just for me. And that's fine. That's fine. Maybe I'll look back on these someday and be like, oh, look at you. Look at you coloring that. Look at what you did. That's so fun. And like enjoy the stories of anything that happened in there. So that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and happy crafting.